Hey Internet, Eric here. I'm going back to the have you ever seen category for the channel today. What this category is, or playlist, however you want to look at it, is where I take a film that I really enjoy, and it seems like I'm the only one that really knows about it or talks about it, at least in my group of friends that I talk to on a regular basis, Facebook groups, Twitter, anything. I feel like no one talks about this movie, or no one knows about this movie, or if they do know about this movie, they don't really talk about it. And it's just like giving a little spotlight to something. I've talked about like Freaked on this. It's been a while, so I don't remember what other ones I've talked about. But, anyways, the movie I want to talk about today is 13 Sins. And this came out in, what does it say? According to the back here, it says 2013. I don't know. Obviously, we'll have the date inside the title here. Really, I found this on YouTube, not on YouTube, on Netflix one day. Watched it, really enjoyed it. Found out it was cheap on Amazon. Bought it, rewatched it last night. Still really enjoyed it. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I discuss plot, spoilers, specific scenes, all that stuff. So if you haven't seen 13 Sins, there might be some spoilers in this. Um, the basic plot is we are following the character of Elliot, and he's down on his luck. He's the everyday man. He just got fired from his job. He's engaged to be married, baby on the way. His father was just evicted, so he's gonna have to move in. Father's gonna have to move in with Elliot and the fiance. Fiance is black, so of course the father is a racist, and Elliot has been taking care of his autistic brother as well. So everything that could go wrong is going wrong for Elliot. And then one day he gets a phone call from somebody. I mean, it's got like a circus theme every time the phone calls. Every time he hears that, picks up the phone, and someone he's never heard of, or voice he's never heard, none of that, says, he basically says stuff about Elliot that only Elliot would know, type of thing. And there's a fly buzzing around inside the car, and he says for like $1,000, swat that fly. So he does. And then he sees that $1,000 has been uploaded into his bank account, and he says for another, I don't know, 1,200. I don't know the prices or whatever, but another 1,200, eat the fly. And he doesn't believe any of this shit. He thinks it's like a practical joke. But eventually he eats the fly, and more money is transferred into his account. And as the movie goes on, he finds out he's part of a game show, an underground game show, where you have 13 different challenges, in which each challenge, more money is deposited into your account. And there are rules where you can't tell anybody you're in this type of situation. If you quit, you can quit at any time, but you forfeit the funds that are going to be transferred to you in that round, plus everything else you have earned up until that point. And you can't do anything to interfere with the game. So it's one of those, what would you do for money type of situations. Um, Cast, I really like Mark Webber. Mark Webber is the guy who plays Elliot. I've never seen him anywhere else before. He kind of looks like what the fuck is his name? I don't know. He's the best friend in Freddy vs. Jason. He's Jason Ritter's best friend that I absolutely hate. And that kid has also done a lot of Uwe Boll movies, but it's not him. It's Mark Webber, and he's really good. He's very sympathetic when he's going through all this stuff. First off, he's sympathetic when you see everything he has to deal with the father, with the brother. Um, down on his luck. He wants to make this marriage work. He wants to provide a future for his unborn child and future wife. Um, so you feel for him, and then what's really cool is eventually he starts getting cocky with like and confident with some of the tasks that he does, because when the guy calls him up on the phone, he's like, did you see that shit, how I accomplished that? So it's a really cool twist in personalities. And then by the end, the competition gets so over the top, Elliot just flips out, loses it, and you buy him being tortured, not wanting to do this anymore, and should he or shouldn't he type of thing. um, I really like his performance. Ron Perlman is in it. He's a police investigator trying to find out what the hell's going on. Um, he's Ron Perlman. That's it. Grumpy old man. That's it. But if you like Ron Perlman, um, That's what he does in this. So he's fine. The other characters that are worth mentioning, the actress who plays Elliot's fiance, she's very likable. They have a good chemistry together, so she's fine. The autistic brother is fine. That actor, he's sympathetic. The guy who plays the father, the asshole, grumpy bastard, does what he has to do, and you hate him, but he does his job. He's disgusting. He's racist. He's an asshole. He's a piece of shit. So I guess he does his job. And then we have this guy. You can't really see him, but the actor, I think, is it Pruitt Taylor Vince? I'm not sure, but if you've ever seen Identity, he's the bald guy, okay, and it's the John Cusack movie. He plays someone that's been watching, trying to figure out who is really doing this, because apparently they've been doing it for a long, long time. His life was affected by these people, so he does what he needs to do. So overall, the acting is great. Highly recommend it. Suspense is really good, especially when you find out the different levels of what Elliot has to go through, going from I don't want to spoil a lot of it, but he starts out with killing a fly and then having to eat it, and then having to make a child cry, and then having to destroy this, and then having to do something with his rehearsal dinner, and then more and more, and then the finale is totally what the fuck. So the creativity of the tasks Elliot has to do just gets better and better and better, and more over the top and more holy shit um, moments, and I loved it. Um, Gore, there is some gore. There's some killings in this movie. Not too over the top, but they're realistic. So I'll give it that. Like I said, the tension. No, there is one scene. There is one scene where let's just say there are a lot of decapitations, or hands cut off, or top of the skull is cut off. I totally forgot about that. Looks pretty good. There, at a distance, we do see one person with hands cut off that looks okay, and then we have someone crawling on their belly, with like the top half of their head has been cut off, so you see like their exposed brain. That looks okay. Nothing special, nothing horrible, but so that's good. You find out that Elliott's racing against the clock, because you do find out that there is someone else doing the in the challenge while he's doing it, and it's a little monkey wrench thrown in his situation, because he has to finish his game before the other person finishes theirs. So that's adding more tension to this. And I really, really like. There's a scene where eventually he gets arrested, because that was one of the challenges. He has to get arrested, and he breaks out of prison. Or not, he doesn't break out of prison. He gets arrested, and then he takes a cop hostage, and he breaks out of the police station, and it's just a really cool scene. It shows that he's gone from this down on his luck guy to do what he has to do to survive, and then he finds out that that part wasn't part of the game. He did that all on his own. So it's a really cool. I don't know if it's like a undertone or whatever, but it's a really cool thing where you see when a person is pushed to do something, what will they do to survive? And also, what will they do for money? Where are your limits when you're being paid to do something? Especially with some of the stuff you see Elliot have to go through. And I want to talk about the number 13. Number 13, I saw a little bit of it coming when you find out what he has to do, but how it was handled was an oh shit moment. I really liked it. It seemed like it was like right out of Shakespeare. You know what I mean? I'll leave it at that. There's some reveals in that scene that are oh shit moments. There's some stuff that happens after that reveal that are oh shit moments. And then there's more to that. And just when you think everything is done and the game is over, there's more to it. And even that is really, really cool. So I can't praise this movie more without spoiling it. And I don't want to spoil it too much, because I don't want to reveal what the 13 stages are, other than like the fly thing, because a lot of this stuff is really crazy. First off, let's say how we're introduced to this movie before we even meet Elliot. We're at like a fancy, uh, not like a fancy dinner, but it's a guy's getting an award or something like that for a contribution. It's this old man, and he gives this speech, and they're dirty limericks. And at first, someone laughs, and then the limerick gets even worse. And then just out of nowhere, he grabs a woman's hand and cuts off her finger. Says he's sorry, and then you hear the telephone ring, and he goes and reaches for it, and then a cop thinks he's pulling out a gun, so he gets shot and taken out. But that sets it up for anybody can be doing this, whether it's outside of America, because these people had accents. I don't know if it was British, Australian, what have you, but it just shows that these people are everywhere. Anybody can do it. Age, because this dude was probably in his 80s, 70s or 80s. I don't know. He was pretty old, so no one's out of bounds for this game. And you think about that when you go back to remember, like I just did, the opening sequence. Um, if there's anything I dislike about this movie, I think how it ends is just kind of a, after all that, that's kind of how it is. I do wish they went with the alternate ending that's on the DVD. I think that would have been a lot cooler. But in the long run, man, it's now playing on Netflix streaming as of this recording. I highly, highly recommend 13 Sins. No, there is another scene that involves some good gore. All I will say it involves the removal of someone's limb, and that's it. And Elliot doesn't want to do it, but eventually something happens, and he gets convinced to do it. And it's pretty graphic. It's pretty bloody. It's a pretty cool scene, and yeah, it's one of those. Hey, would I do this for money? No, I don't want to. But then you're coaxed into it, and you'll see why. I want to keep that a secret too. So it's a pretty vague movie discussion video here. But that's because I don't want to ruin the 13 sins he has to go through. Highly recommend this. Definitely one you don't want to have your phone on. Don't be texting. Don't be walking up and doing all this stuff and have it playing on in the background. Sit and watch this movie because I really really liked it and I highly recommend it. And if you're watching this channel and you know the type of movies that you've seen the type of movies that I praise on this channel that aren't just horror movies, and you agree with a lot of that, I think you'll also enjoy 13 Sins. Like I said, streaming on Netflix right now as of this recording. Really, really good. So that's it. Thank you for watching. I hope, even though I was pretty vague with a lot of this stuff, I hope I have shined a little bit of a spotlight on this, enough to get some people to go see this film. So that's it. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. Click the bell. All that crap. Tell me in the comments below if you've seen this movie and what you think. In the comments, I don't care if they're spoiler filled because that won't be on me. You can tell me what sin you liked the most. What sin would you stop at? Would you do this? What have you? All that crap. I'm rambling. But yeah, definitely check out 13 Sins. Highly recommend it, especially that final act. Loved it. So that's it. I'll just say I don't know any quotes from the movies to end this with, so I'll just say cheers.